Hi, welcome back to this tutorial series on Introduction to MATLAB. In the last tutorial, I discussed about how to create a variable and store a value in it. In the last tutorial, we only stored a single value in it. In this tutorial, I'm going to discuss about how to store a list of number into a single variable. Let's get started. To store the list of number into a single variable, we will start writing our command into the command window. Let's suppose I want to name our variable as a, then I'm going to use this equal to sign to assign the list of number into the variable. Now to create a list of number in the MATLAB, we have to use this square bracket and all the number will be inserted in between these brackets. So let's suppose I want to store 28, 56, 86, 42, 23. Let's suppose just take these 5 numbers now. We are going to supply these 5 numbers in between square brackets. Another thing we have to do is we have to separate these two numbers by a space. So we are telling the MATLAB that these two numbers are different. Now if I press an enter key over here, all the list of numbers are stored into this variable a. Another way to do the same thing is, let's suppose I want to create another variable b, then I'm going to use an assign operator which is equal to sign, and then I'm going to use again this square bracket. Now instead of space, what I can do is I can use a comma between these numbers. So let's suppose I want to store the same values that we did earlier. So let's supply all these numbers first. So now I have used a comma in between numbers. Either you can use a space or you can use a comma between these numbers. Now if I press an enter key, command will be issued to the MATLAB and a variable is created b, and you will see that the value that is given to the MATLAB and stored into this variable is 28, 56, 86, 42 and 23. Either we use a comma or either we use a space, it's going to create this variable b, and all the value of list of number will be going to be stored into these variables. Let's see in the workspace what happened actually. So we created two variables, variable a and the value that is stored into it, and the variable b and the values are stored into these variables. So one thing you will notice over here, if you clearly see over the values over here, you will see there is a comma in between these numbers. Although when we created variable a, we didn't use any comma over here, so there is a space only. But if you see in the values, there is a comma already. So by default it actually is either comma or space. At the end it is going to be a comma. What is the use of this actually? So let's open this variable first. So you will notice over here that a new window is opened as soon as I double click on this variable a, and the window is opened with the name variable and the name of the variable is given a. Over here this name is also shown. So you will see that the number that we supplied is stored in this direction. MATLAB is basically a matrix laboratory which deals with the vectors and matrices. So this direction is, this is a single row and we are moving in columns. So this is first column, this is second column, third column, fourth column and fifth column. If you are familiar with the mathematics, linear algebra, you will know that what are rows and columns in the matrices. So this is my first row and these are the different columns. So all the values that we supplied into this variable a is stored in the columns and only one row is created. In mathematics it is called a row vector because it is having a single row but large number of columns, so it is called a row vector. If you see in the blue color region, a variable tab is created, and in this variable tab different options are given like rows and columns. So it says first row and first column, that means we are at this particular location. If I move to the next column, you will see that the column number is changed to 2. The same number is written along this direction and the number of rows is written in this direction. So this in the vertical direction is rows and in the horizontal direction are the columns. If you see in the b, so the same result is shown in the b as well. So from this we can conclude that if we use a space between these numbers or a comma between these numbers, then MATLAB by default is going to create a row vector by using these list of numbers. So when we store a list of numbers into a variable, we say it is a vector now. It's not a single variable, it's a vector now, because it contains large number of values, list of numbers into it, so we will say it is a vector. Now what if we want to create a column vector now? So to do that in the MATLAB, let's suppose then we have to use again this bracket, because this bracket means we are supplying list of number. To distinguish between these, we have to use semicolon, right? So we have to use a semicolon. So I will start writing semicolon between these numbers, 42, and then I'm going to write 23. Either you can use space, it doesn't matter now, because discrimination will be done from this is written a semicolon or it is a comma. So comma means it is going to create a row vector. If you want to create a row vector, then use a comma, or you can simply use a space as we did for creating variable a. But in the C we are using this semicolon. If I press an enter key over here, you will see now the result is shown in the vertical direction. If you move to the workspace and double click on the C, the variable, now name of the variable is C, the same window is there, same tab is there, variable, and now the value is stored in the vertical direction. So if I move down, I'm moving along the rows, but the column remain fixed. If you see over here in this variable tab and in the selection option, you will see the number of rows will change. So right now I am in the second row and the first column. Now if I move down 86, over here 86, so it will see, you will see that it is now 86 in the third row. So you can see from here this is third row, or you can see in this section over here. So this is how we can use the workspace to see the variables and the value stored in it. That's how we can create a variable a, b, or whatever variable we want. So we actually created now is a vector, because it contains a list of number along either it contains a single row with multiple columns, or it contains a single column with multiple rows. So we created a row vector which is given by a or b, and we also created a column vector which is given by c. So till now we have stored all this list of numbers into this variables, and we called them as a vector. In the next tutorial, I'm going to discuss how to create a matrix into the MATLAB, because what actually the MATLAB is a matrix laboratory. So we are going to deal with the vectors and matrices, so we should know how to create a matrix into the MATLAB. I hope you like this tutorial. Please like, share and subscribe. I will see you in the next tutorial. Thank you very much.